This is the center of Hull. I'm headed to one of the art galleries. That's Hull City Center. And this is where my Airbnb is. Further down here on the right. That's north, this is south. South, that's west. The whole museum, the art gallery, is pretty big, and it's real easy to see all the paintings. I think the oldest painting I saw there was maybe 1300, but that sounds very ancient. But it might have been 1300, but I think it was 1600. I just walked down this street. And I'm headed down to this small alley. I'm looking at a terraced home that's kind of like these. Has like a weird section right there. I've seen these properties on Zillow and Rightmove, and I always thought this little alley was kind of interesting. Some of these have pretty good roofs. Actually, that might be it right there on the right. That's a for sale sign. So I thought on a street that's directly north and south orientation, I would think the sunlight would shine directly on this side, but it looks like it's more like it does this. Maybe in the summertime it's different. So in the winter, when you need sunlight in the morning, maybe you need something slightly a different angle. been sold. Wow, that's fresh paint. Okay, I thought I was recording, but apparently it wasn't recording. I'm walking on a street that had a property for 50,000 GBP. It just sold a month ago by auction. It's Meaux auction. I think they have 1 or 2 offices in London, and somehow they get some properties all over England for auction. And it's just over here, one of these. It was gutted, and you could see the joists in the ceiling. I think you can still see the pictures of it. So let's see what 50,000 GBP looks like. Okay, this is south. The river goes this way. This is Hull. I think this is Tyne Street. That's not gonna cause any flat tires, but could trip on it or something. I don't know what you call these bricks, but these bricks are significantly better for some properties. I don't know which kinds of properties get them, but some residential properties have them. And this is Lloyd's Bank. I gotta get a bank at some point, Lloyd's or Barclays Bank. This is Lloyd's Bank. So right around the corner from a major street. another property. I think I found it about 3 months ago online. And it's in Hull, about 2.5 hour drives from London, right in the middle of England on the east coast. I think it's on this street coming up. Yeah, it's on this street, maybe halfway down there. It was for sale. Around 70 GBP, I recall. But I really like the one-story houses. If I get an inspection on a one-story house, I think you can ask the level 2 surveys. There's 3 surveys, level 1, level 2, and level 3. There might be more, but there's pretty much buyer's report is level 1. Level 2 is more detail, and level 3 is serious inspection. But if you get an inspection on a one-story property, especially somebody who doesn't know all the buildings here, what they're really like, how they start to erode or crumble. So that's why I really like these one-stories. But they're hard to find, they're rare. That's a really thick roof tile. So it's one of these. And I would like to get an electric scooter at some point. I just think a scooter is a good way to get around. I think there's some grass collecting there. It's the only one that seems to have grass collecting. There's some moss on that one. I just felt like singing a song kind of like a heavy metal band. That riff that goes dun 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 dun. I've got one more property that I want to see. I'm just east of Hull now, in this somewhat industrial district. It's a real small section of residential homes, kind of by some small warehouse businesses. Peugeot, Apache. It's over these buildings. That's the city center, that's east. I'm on the other side of Hull now. So that should be Amsterdam and the North Sea. The sea should be right over there. I don't hear it as much. I heard the sea a lot easier when I was in Sunderland. But I'm much farther. Hull's a bit farther in from the coast. Mercedes-Benz for $24,000. Mercedes-Benz. These must be used. And I'm not sure I would buy a camper van. I don't really like the roads, and going to gas stations, I try to avoid gas stations. Right behind me is a Dope Burger. They actually have gluten-free burgers. It looks really good. I just came from that way. I gotta go around this little warehouse district. I was planning to get lunch or eat at Dope Burger at some point, but it's gonna cost me like $25 US dollars, because it's like 11 or 13 for a burger, 3 or 4 pound for a fry, and all my life I've been used to US dollar being $1.25 and you get 1 pound. But now I think it's $1.34 and you get 1 pound. Or it's like 72 cents or 68 cents. Okay, it's down this street. A couple months ago there was a property for sale here that had nobody across. See that fence down there? Nobody's gonna be across from me. It's probably almost to the end of this street, and it's in a warehouse district area. That's whole city center right there. Oddlings. Oddlings. And I think this property was, I think 60, 70 GBP. Sometimes there's little side streets. Maybe these side streets have better orientation to the sun. But it's essentially right down there. industrial area of Hull. I'm about to cross a bridge. That's where the sea is. And I'm going this way towards the city center. So London is, that's London, and London's that way, and then Hull city center is right over here. So I'm going inland now. But this is a kind of a cool little section. Some kind of a slate tile roof work and some graffiti. And I think these giant bridges sometimes go all the way down and block the water. Trans-Pennine Trail. Just came from that way. This must be low tide. And I think the sea comes in from over there down here and then fills up this water, but they have a big dam to keep it from flooding. So the sea's going this way. Get back to work, guys. Just kidding. When I used to drive a whole bunch, every time I saw guys working the road, I'd tell them, get back to work. I'd just say that out loud to myself. So it looks like some serious bridge machinery. That's mud. Looks like it's all dried up over there. I was trying to read about this. It's in a flood zone, but I don't see how that could happen. And the tide changes every 12 hours or so. This is the old part of Hull, just to the west, just to the east of city center. Kind of a nice, kind of looks like London a little bit. Those are for sale. Those look over the river. The main river goes this way, and this is one of the small rivers that helps the city drain. That is a really nice building, that white building. These were for sale, and they had studios and 1-bedrooms. There's that really nice stone . That's more of the river. Yeah, these were for sale. Like maybe one of these units right here was for sale just a couple months ago for like $50,000. It's a studio. And I just came from that way. The city center is right there. London should be that way. City Exchange has a property for sale. This building has a property for sale right now. I think it's under 60,000 GBP. Came from that way.
Or is it 2 or 3 days?
I think it's barely raining. It's around 2:45 on a Tuesday. I'm heading back from the city center, which is just a block or two that way. I think I just walked by my bus stop. That's the bus stop I need. I just don't understand why this stone stays so smooth. I'm walking home from a grocery run. Finishing up some museums of Hull. This is called a merchant building. Ships related to a merchant building. That building far down the street is called the Guild Hall. I'm not sure why it's called the Guild Hall, but it has statues on top of it. It's called the Guild Hall, and it's in Hull, just east of city center block.
was 4 miles off there. Years, 4 years to be precise. It's then the dedicated fishing line, St Andrews got there from there, and then all the fishermen moved into there, and that was so, yeah.
Ships waited there, came from Northern Europe, came to Hull, and then sometimes had to wait 3 to 4 to 6 hours for high tide to match the level of the river. I think the river empties here and goes out to the ocean. I believe the tide comes in every 12 hours, but I would think during the spring or winter it probably has different levels as well. So that's east. Europe is that way. I guess the whole mouth kind of takes a sharp turn. I think this is the thing that comes down and keeps the ocean from filling up, or allows the rivers to drain and stay low. It blocks the flow of water.
This is Hull's tidal barrier, okay? The function of the tidal barrier is to separate the River Hull from the Humber estuary, and it stops tidal surges when you get high tides in the Humber going upriver and inundating areas of Hull, okay? I can remember in 1969 in a particularly bad flood of the
I think hallways were skinny like this so that only one carriage could fit through. some kind of a way to keep things secure. Here's another carriageway. And they had metal guards here to keep the wheels and axles from busting. This might be very old, maybe 1800s, 1700s, maybe even medieval 1400s. It's just the size to fit one carriage. Yeah, this is a big guard. Axles would scrape this edge, or it kept axles from damaging the building. It's called the Old Town. The Old Town of Hull. Hull is one of the larger cities on the East Coast, maybe 2-3 hour drive north of London. That should be Aphrodite. Aphrodite is associated with the sea. I'm just exploring using Zoopla, Rightmove, and On the Market apps. I think mostly Rightmove and Zoopla. This is the very first suburb northeast of Hull, about 4 hours from London, north of London. And this is 68,000. It's actually end terrace with a little gap between it, between the next one. So it's probably down this street. It might be something like this, a little gap between it. It might even be this one. Some kind of hole in there. I'm not sure, but I think that's how they access the cavities in the walls and put in newer insulation. Alright, I've got about 5 or 6 properties to see. in Hull. I just came from that way. I'm heading down this way. This is property number 2, 70,000. Looks pretty nice inside. It's down one of these side streets. I'm on the north side of the river, right by a main road in Hull. This is the 3rd property. It's a bit farther out than the previous 2, kind of in a warehouse district. And it's right around the corner. Right around here, I think. I'm still around the Delhi Street area. I've seen the properties come up on this street in this little area, small little section of properties. I've seen 2 or 3 that I definitely remember looking at. So I'm just going behind them. I'm going back that way. And when I turn left, that's south. London's pretty much that way, 4 hours. Okay, back on Delhi Street. This is quite a long street. On my list, this property's very nice on the inside. The photos look really nice. And it's in kind of a cool spot of Hull. It's quieter, the road noise is quieter. I'm heading north, that's south, the river's right there. But But I just saw a property in this area that was completely gutted for $50,000. So it must be further up here. I think I found it. It's one of these side streets. Ooh, this looks pretty nice. I don't know what you call that, but it's like, looks like stucco. Wow, there are 3 properties for sale on this little side street. One of them is sold. It does seem a little quieter, even though it's kind of by a main road. A much quieter main road. So it's... maybe I can see 1 or 2 more properties. I'm about to head north towards the whole university area. Yeah, I might get one of those.
This one?
Yeah, I might get one.
Good.
I'd like to get a scooter like that. I just got off that stop. I'm going to see a property just near the whole river on the north side. I think it's for 70,000 GBP. I picked up 1 coin, 1 GBP last time I came down this street. Just happened to see it on the ground. And I'm walking from the major shopping center. I just want to see what it's like to walk from the grocery store, shopping center to this property. And it crosses a bridge. she wanted to walk in the puddle, but that's where I'm headed. I'm just a little bit nervous because this appointment has been rescheduled 3 times, and this will be the 4th to actually see it. I can't really hear that wind machine. Forget the name of it. Wind turbine. The wind turbine is not making any noise. I can read that Chinese. I got it right. East Ocean. East Ocean. That property's pretty nice, but it looks like it's been neglected for quite a while, and I found a screw right in the front doorway when I left. I think I'm gonna, just keep looking, and kind of a cool area. And just something about being on the coast and the breeziness of the coast is always pretty nice.